YNW Melly's defense team has filed a 12-page lawsuit against Broward County Sheriff's Office, citing egregious violations of his constitutional rights and requesting his immediate release. I know a lot of you are going to say, who cares, Melly's cooked, all the evidence points to him, but he's presumed innocent. I know it's going to piss a lot of you off, but he is. Same with Diddy. I obviously don't support anything, that's just how this country works, you know what I mean? All these guys are presumed innocent. This lawsuit details some really messed up shit, so stick around, hit subscribe, here we go. Alright, here's the lawsuit. Jamel Demons versus Gregory Tony, Sheriff of Broward County and Broward County Sheriff's Office. Jamel Demons, bind through undersigned counsel, petitions this court for a writ of habeas corpus pursuant to Title 28 U.S.C. 2241 and asking the respondents to appear and show cause why Jamel Demons should not be immediately released from custody for egregious violations of the United States Constitution. Jamel Demons seeks his immediate release because he is being illegally detained under conditions that violate the 1st, 5th, 6th, 8th, and 14th Amendments to the United States Constitution. Demons is a black male whose current detention conditions shock the conscience and should not even be imagined in this day and age and even third world country that has no guardrails protecting human decency and dignity. They've been saying for years that he's being treated differently and they were trying to break him mentally on purpose. So let's see if there's any new stuff in here. For over 3 years, Jamel Demons has not been permitted to make a single phone call or have a single visit with his family or any member of the outside world, including not seeing or speaking with his own mother in over 3 years! Exclamation point, exclamation point. That's very fucked up. I know a lot of people are like, he's cooked, he killed his 2 best friends, fuck him, he should be in there. I get those comments all the time. Even people that are convicted of murder and convicted R-word, people that do mass shootings, they get to call people. Why do those people get to call people but Melly doesn't? Was given coded language to people through fucking notes. Remember that whole thing? He got charged with witness tampering recently. That's why. But 3 years seems like a long time for that. Demons has and continues to be subjected to the type of debilitating isolation that renders his conditions of incarceration cruel, unusual, and beyond belief in a civilized society governed by constitutional safeguards. He has also had restrictions placed by detention officials designed to impede his interactions with his attorneys, his ability to prepare for trial on capital murder charges. He should be able to talk to his attorneys at all times. I said this previously, that's insane. They're trying to prepare for trial. His cruel treatment by the Broward detention authorities warrants his immediate release from pretrial detention since the detaining authorities have shown such callous disregard for his human dignity right to counsel. He's currently incarcerated at Broward County Jail. Sheriff Gregory Tony is the sheriff of Broward County and responsible for the humane treatment and overall conditions of inmates in Broward County detention facilities. Been arrested since February 13, 2019. Mistrial in July of 2023. In October of 2023, Broward Circuit Judge John Murphy granted the petitioner's motion to disqualify the state prosecutor in a motion containing the state attorney's withheld evidence. Remember, they kicked off that prosecutor, and then now they have 2 new prosecutors on the case that aren't playing no games. They appealed some bullshit they know is going to get denied, and it's just delaying the case on purpose so they have more time to make a case on Melly. A new set of prosecutors have come on and have done everything in their power to delay the trial from commencing. Literally what I just said. The case currently stayed pending on ruling of an appeal taken by state attorney. Meanwhile, the plaintiff, who remains in custody since February 2019, is continuously abused and denied bond. I don't think anyone would ever get bond for the charges he has. That'd be pretty ridiculous, but it's capital murder charges. No one gets bond on this. The petitioner has not been permitted phone in person or any type of visitation with his family, including his mother, for over 3 years. In addition, the respondents have placed unreasonable restrictions and interfere with the ability of his attorneys to interact with him, included forcing his attorneys to wait for hours to see him, not letting them see him at all, and forcing them to meet with him in conditions that interfere with and impede the privacy and privileged nature of his communications with his lawyers. So in April of 2022, an inmate, Jamal Myers, filed a grievance report in retaliation of the plaintiff's refusal to purchase him food from the commissary. Myers filed a grievance report not only plaintiff but another inmate. Inmate Myers alleged in part that Demons was planning an escape by having his attorney bring in 2 handcuff keys to aid in the escape. Okay, that just doesn't seem possible. No attorney is going to do that. It's probably some bullshit conversation Melly was having with someone and was just yapping. In response, correction personnel conducted a shakedown of plaintiff's cell and the other inmate's cell. In accordance with certain supplemental investigation report, the shakedown of plaintiff's cell unearthed commissary and excessive jail issued clothes, which were confiscated and disposed of as per operational orders of the jail. Oh, okay, this is about Melly's in the same cell as him, was found with a shank. I remember this whole situation now. The other inmate on the dorm was found in possession of shanks, prescription drugs, and other contraband. The inmate was subsequently charged for possession of the contraband. Plaintiff was found to have committed no wrongdoing, and the investigation closed on the plaintiff on April 11, 2022. Despite doing no wrong, the plaintiff was moved from his current dorm into solitary confinement and all phone communications with the outside world ceased. Shortly thereafter, 2 plaintiffs' defense counsel attended to visit him and were not allowed entry into the jail facilities. The facility refused to provide any reason to the denial. Melly's lawyer made an ortinous motion regarding the jail's interference with plaintiff's right to counsel. Honorable Judge Andrew Siegel summoned Broward Sheriff's Office Attorney Christian Chisobis to court. Chisobis defended the actions of the facility, saying there was an open investigation against Mr. Demons, and further that he was a threat to the security of the jail because he was alleged by the attorney to have been found with a shank in his dorm. But I thought it wasn't about Melly. Someone else got found with it. And I thought the investigation closed at some point. Melly's lawyer inquired if any of Mr. Demons' defense team were at the time ever under investigation. The attorney responded no. Judge Andrew Siegel instructed Attorney T, I'm gonna say T, dude, that the jail could not restrict the plaintiff's contact with his attorneys, and Attorney T would have to come up with effectuate plaintiff's visits with his attorneys. As a result, Melly's visitations took place in a visitation booth located downstairs in the bond room. So this is a lot of the same messed up conditions we've been hearing for years, that they can't even talk to him in like a private room. It's through a glass booth with his lawyer. The visitation booth did not accommodate Mr. Demons and his defense team in one sitting. Moreover, it was impossible to review any documentation with Mr. Demons due to the plexiglass divider. I mean, I know there's a lot of damning evidence against Melly. I'm one of the guys that points out this damning evidence for years. But he's presumed innocent, technically. You got to think about that. All these charges and everything, he's presumed innocent. Same with Lil Durk. Same with Diddy. Not only was the visitation room not large enough to accommodate defense attorneys, but anyone else also standing outside of the room could hear everything that is said in the room, violating defense right to private and privileged communications. That's the bad part right there, that anyone could hear it. September 2022, Raven Liberty filed a motion to remove visitation and communication or interaction restrictions. Prior to the hearing on the motion, attorney Raven Liberty contacted Christian T in an effort to reach a resolution without a hearing. Instead, Raven Liberty was met with unhinged screaming from the BSO attorney, questioning her about, what do you talk about? Why do you spend so much time with him? Wait, the BSO attorney was questioning why a lawyer is spending so much time with someone preparing for trial for capital murder charges. Why would they not spend a lot of time together? That's how it works. Christian T ended the conversation telling Raven Liberty that if she went forward with the hearing, he would embarrass her. This guy sounds like a dick. It's important to note that the plaintiff's defense team was not in possession of the incident reports. The defense team and the court all relied on Mr. T proffers to the court that have not been determined to be untruthful. Despite the believable threat of character assassination, Raven Liberty proceeded hearing on the motion. Christian T ranted and raved about unverified allegations and the behavior of the plaintiff. Despite Christian T attempts to not only embarrass attorney Raven Liberty, he failed. T was instructed to accommodate visitation between plaintiff and his attorneys that was free of third parties being able to listen. On September 29, 2022, Raven Liberty was contacted by a reporter for an online media outlet and informed that an unknown member of BSO contacted them and led them to believe she was the attorney that inmate Myers was speaking about in his unfounded grievance. Wait, BSO is talking to media members? What? I was unaware of this, or I forgot, because this case has taken fucking 5 years. But what? Or 6 years, actually. As a result of the accusations of the Broward Sheriff's Office, stories ran for weeks about the alleged nefarious escape plan between Raven Liberty and Melly. The escape plan created by Broward Sheriff's Office was not the worst of it. December 1st, 2022, under the charge of Captain Hubert, plaintiff without cause was moved to a unit inside the jail that is meant to accommodate 24 inmates. Plaintiff was only housed on the vacant unit, with no privileges, no television, and no access to newspaper. So he's completely isolated. When plaintiff was allowed his hour of cell, all other inmates had to go back inside their cells. What the fuck is going on? They're like keeping him all separate. I mean, it could be for his own safety, but could be also just to mentally break him. During December 2022, Lieutenant Jean Baptiste, along with Sergeant Anthony Kidd, threatened plaintiff if he told his attorneys about his treatment, they would hide him away from the world. What? This is very sketchy. Melly has not had phone privileges since May 2022. Melly has not had private visitations with his defense team since March 2022. As recently, without reason, plaintiff was moved to the Paul Rain Detention Center and housed on a floor with no one else. His door has been removed from the cell, preventing any privacy. And a member of the emergency response team shadowing him 24 hours a day. They were instructed not to speak to him. Melly went without any contact for several months until Broward Sheriff's Office moved him. Florida statute states that a person arrested shall be allowed to consult with any attorney entitled to practice in the state, alone and in private, at the place of custody, as often and for such periods of times as reasonable. The ongoing denial of Mr. Demons' access to his attorneys is not only preventing Mr. Demons' attorneys from properly preparing Mr. Demons' defense, but is in violation of not only his Sixth Amendment rights, but Florida as well. In order to punish and isolate Demons, the respondents have isolated him and not permitted a single phone call or visit from his family in over 3 years. The isolation has inflicted an enormous emotional impact on him and is designed to deteriorate his mental health and his ability to prepare for trial now scheduled for September 2025. These restrictions are not for security reasons and bear no rational relationship to any legitimate security interests. The respondents monitor the custody of thousands of inmates and have never imposed such restrictions. No non-black inmates currently have any such punitive restrictions. Yikes. Ground 1, the respondent has illegally and improperly violated petitioner's constitutional guaranteed right to counsel and his ability to prepare for trial. Ground 2, the respondent is being illegally detained under conditions that are cruel and unusual and not only bear no rational relationship to any legitimate state interest, but violate the petitioner's rights to due process and equal protection. Prison walls do not form a barrier separating prison inmates from the protections of the Constitution. Wow, that's a good sentence right there. Hence, for example, prisoners retain the constitutional right to petition the government for the redress of grievances. When a prison regulation or practice offends a fundamental constitutional guarantee, federal courts will discharge their duty to protect constitutional rights. Citing a bunch of cases here, Johnson versus Avery. Petitioner respectfully requests his court issue a writ of habeas corpus, directing response to show cause why he should not be released from the unlawful detention, and grant such other relief as the court deems just and proper. Because of the abuse and outrageous violations of his rights guaranteed by the United States Constitution, coupled with the efforts by the state to delay his trial after years of custody. Submitted by Michael A. Pisa. That's a new name, right? I've never seen this lawyer. So this must be a new lawyer for Melly. So all these conditions are definitely because of the witness tampering situation. That's the only justification I see for it. And maybe his safety too, like keeping him away from other inmates. But no door in his cell, not talking to him at all, like no guards talking to him, not being able to talk to his family on the phone, not being able to talk to his lawyers. I mean, all four of those things every other inmate in this country can do, pretty much. Everyone convicted in prison is able to talk to people. No matter what you think, you say he's cooked, the evidence is bad, I know. But imagine that's how Melly gets released. I wouldn't get my hopes up, but hit subscribe, join channel membership. I love you guys. Peace out.